Welcome to Wholesale Hotties, the place where ladies in real estate are talking about real estate. I'm your host and MC, Sharon Lee Smith, together with all my favorite, oh my goodness, look at these co-hosts today. We got Donda Mullinex down in the back corner. Hey, Donda. We got Monique Fell over there. Look at you, girl. You found a hat. I see. I'm the only one without a And in the bottom corner over there, look at Mrs. Claus, Miss Jennifer Stewart. Hey,
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas. And then our special guest for today, Kristen. Welcome to the show, Kristen. I'm so glad to have you on. It's super awesome to have you back. I love having prior guests. I have crazy puppies. Sorry.
Love puppies.
We would love an update on what's been going on. It's been a little shy of a year since you were on last, and well, I don't know. Maybe if this is airing on Christmas, it will have been a full year.
Yes, wow.
Yeah. So I want to know what's been going on in this last year, and I hear you have something fun in store in the next month or two. So,
do
tell.
Merry Christmas.
It sure has been a year. Some crazy things have happened. Let me start. I got to speak at Squad Up this year, which was kind of a highlight of my year. As I reflect back, that was one of my biggest blessings, was to be able to do that. And that was so fun. And it was such a blessing. And it just really taught me so much. And it really opened a lot of doors for me. And I think that this year I stepped into a lot of things that probably 3 years ago I didn't feel like I was ready for. So I think that I changed so much in my confidence over the last year and a half. And so to be able to do that, to be able to step into the development ring and kind of check that out a little bit. I had a couple deals that I ended up having to walk away from. But as we know, it's better to walk away from it than to not have a great deal. But in the process of that, I created a really solid team. And one of the men that is going to probably work the next time I do have a development deal, which is kind of on hold right now, is a major developer in Las Vegas. So it's kind of funny the way things kind of unfolded. And what I'm really trying to do is just pay attention, right, to where things are leading. So I was doing flipping before. That's probably what I was doing when we spoke. But I'm not flipping in this market right now. So it really has been, just being able to be agile and flexible and paying attention to what's going on in the market, what's going on in my heart, what I feel like I'm being led into, and to really pay attention to that and kind of go with the flow of that. So
I think that's beautiful and so important. And one of the things that so many times I feel that we get wrong as entrepreneurs is we have our lane and we want to stay in that lane no matter what. And we stick with it through some of the worst things, when the best thing we could do is pivot into something new and change strategies and adapt and grow. And some of us, myself included, we just kind of get stuck in the trenches of what we're used to, what we're familiar with. And so I think that's amazing and beautiful. I also just snooped on your Facebook and saw this AI Academy thing that you got involved in. Tell us a little bit about that, just a hint.
So in August, I kind of stepped away a little bit after I terminated the contract on the development deal. And I started saying, okay, well, what does my business really need? What do I need? What kind of work do I want to do? And as I was looking at my business as a whole, I had talked to Heather Grizzard multiple times about coming into my business and putting things together with AI. And what I figured was I could pay her to do that. And then I could pay her in another year and in another year, because everything would be obsolete. And it looks like my hand is just kind of floating there. But it would be obsolete in a year if I'm hiring someone to do it. So that was a very important part of my business because I wanted some things taken off my plate. So when I started looking around, when I think when we start to really put it out there that what we're looking for or what we want, the thing kind of shows up.
Yeah.
And this ad came up on Facebook and I clicked on it. I went to a master class and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I thought, why don't I just do this for my business? Why don't I be the person who steps in and can do all that without having to hire someone? So I'm actually now getting a consulting certification for that so that I can help other people, because why stop at my own business? So I just decided, you know what, this is something that I can do with other people and with businesses. So it's been really fun. They're actually, Donda, in Phoenix, the people that I'm learning from. His name is Kane Minkus, and it's an amazing community of people. So I just feel like all the right pieces are kind of falling into place. And so that I'll finish that consultation certification in about 5 months. So
So that's
I'm pretty excited about this.
Kyle's community you're taking the class from?
No, it's Kane Minkus.
Oh, Kane. Oh.
The AI Assisted Academy. Yeah. Great teacher, an amazing coach. I went to one of their live events and I got to actually meet people in the community, and it felt a lot like Pace's community.
Right.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah,
But
so
the
I'm
focus
excited
AI?
about the focus. It's AI. Yeah.
That's great.
Is it AI agencies then? They're popping up everywhere in different areas of putting together like agents and stuff for businesses, for each team member. And is it that kind of an AI, or is it more like just helping people with their AI presence through like automation?
Because every company needs something a little bit different. So you go in and do an evaluation. The thing that I want to really get involved in is helping people with their marketing and sales and their culture. So I want to work with purpose-driven companies that I can figure out what their need is and how to get the word out, because a lot of purpose-driven CEOs don't necessarily know how to do that. Right. So there's a company that I'm already talking to, and once they get their customer-facing team on board, then I'll come in and help with the marketing and sales and kind of get their brand out there. But they have every kind of program. If you want to create digital products, if you want to write a book, if you want to create an agency, if you want to do the consulting. But the consulting really is kind of coming in and taking an inventory and, helping with what I can, which is the sales and marketing for me. And then bringing in other people who can do the more technical parts and things like that. So, but really keeping them very safe. The ethics is a really big thing in this program. Keeping the human in the loop is a really big thing in this program. So it was really good to find something that felt kind of aligned with my belief system and the desire I have and where I hope AI is going. So.
No, I think that's great. And in fact, I was just talking to Judah. I don't know if you know Judah from too. He's a lender. He's doing integrity lending. It's for buying businesses. He's created kind of a unique thing there. But we were walking a property on Saturday and we were talking just about that. He's like, I'm looking at buying these businesses, and so many of these people do not know how to do what you're just describing. And they're either like going to walk away or they're losing businesses because they can't compete. So what you're looking to do could help a lot of people. I think that's great.
Thank you. Well, and that's part of the strategy too. That it's really funny coming from the world, this world, right, and taking it into that world, because Kane is talking to us about getting revenue share with the companies that you work with, and of course, that's ideal. Come in and help them and get revenue share. But what I'm thinking is also working with some of this silver tsunami, some of these people that maybe have a runway of 5 to 10 years and they will be out of their business. Well, I can come in, help them really escalate things, and then, sell it at a much higher price.
Yeah, scale or saleability.
Right. Yeah. So help them so that they don't have to just sell it at a loss or a lesser price. But after all their.
They're having a hard time selling them because their numbers aren't making sense. That's
Yeah.
a lot that I'm finding when I take businesses to Judah, and he's like, I said, they've stepped back. They don't want to, they're not working as hard. They're letting the business just be comfortable for them. Well, but the numbers they don't work when I try to sell the property with, all that. And it's like, you need to almost do that. And I've talked about doing this with dentists because there's a lot of older dentists who are trying to sell practices, and they need to do an update. You need to get in their market. You need to get it worth more money so you have something to retire off of.
Start cleaning it up before you're ready to sell it. No one wants to touch it. Yeah.
The beauty of what you've got going too, Kristen, with that model that you're talking about is by helping them to scale their businesses. Now you've got whole nother community of business buyers and business club in Arizona and all over that you can plug them into to help them sell their business. Now, if they're like you said, the silver tsunami, and they don't know how to even sell their business or what to do or who would want to buy it, got seller financing, all kinds of things at your fingertips that you can now take to the next level. So I love that. That's really cool.
Positioning is everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about that and the people that I'm working with. And, it's funny because Kane is a coach. And so it's pushing me more toward my coaching business, which I kind of have left on the back burner. But that's something else that with the bigger companies, I can come in and after working on their AI and seeing where their need really is to really step in and help with coaching as well. So, so I think that'll be a good play for me. So
awesome. Yeah. So you've got this event coming up. Tell us about that.
So, it comes after just watching myself included, everybody, when we don't have focus and we don't really feel clearly aligned with our purpose and our values and our vision, it can be really hard, to create something like I'm creating right now with all the different pieces coming into play. And in areas that I'm really excited about and that I love, I'm watching that happen a lot in our communities. And so at the end of the year, it's just a natural time to take inventory and start talking about this instead of just watching it happen. So that's kind of where this came out of. And this is something that I just do with clients anyway. So I thought, well, why don't I do a workshop around this in this community? Entrepreneurs, we see so many people that are burned out or that are struggling, just like I said, with focus, but the burnout and the grind mentality is really, it really shuts down creativity. It puts us in a survival state, and it really keeps us from having this creative inspiration and, putting ourselves in these different areas where we kind of get lit up and excited about what we're doing. And we're just trying to do the next thing. And so I just have been really seeing so much of that in all the communities across the board, that if there's any way I can help people clarify and realize you deserve to have work that you love and you deserve to show up and love it every day. And I had a job for decades that I really struggled with. And so I'm hell-bent on not having a job that I don't love anymore. So I want to see that for other people too, that level of freedom and focus. So, and knowing where they kind of fit in. So it'll be, aligning their purpose, their values, and their vision, and creating a really solid strategy for the new year. And then kind of walking that out with them throughout the year, quarterly calls, and, helping them adjust that. Because at the beginning of the year, we know that so many things sound great. And then June comes up and is like, hold my beer, right? And their hell breaks loose and there we go. But just to keep people on the track and just keep reiterating the plan, coming up with a plan that works for that quarter, for that season, and then adjusting accordingly. So keeping the vision and working towards that, but adjusting it as you go, the strategy as you go. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about the people that will be speaking. Donda will be helping out with it, and I'm super excited. Kind of, hopefully, mostly just attending, but
Me.
She'll be that warm presence in the room. And Tracy Koa will be speaking from Hawaii. We're going to get her on Zoom for that.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
Mike Loera, who's Big Mike, and Sub 2, who's awesome. Owen Meekum, Casey Roloff, Eddie Marin, and I think that's everybody. Yeah. So really excited for the messages that they're going to bring. And I've seen a preview of them. And I think it's going to be a really good and powerful, just get out of your environment, get out of those four walls that you see every day and come and work with us and have accountability for the year and create something special.
Yeah.
So
That's
it'll
really awesome.
it'll be all about like goal setting. You kind of have a goal setting per like a section to start off, and then we have like a Facebook group for them to kind of everybody to be able to talk and communicate where they hold each other accountable.
I'm putting them in a WhatsApp group, actually.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just because it's easier. You know, I'm all about let's simplify things and keep people connected.
Yeah.
And they can go as deep as they want to outside of that. But that's where I feel like this would work best. But yeah, there will be kind of goal setting and things like that, kind of breaking things down by quarter. You know, what we need in quarter one is going to be very different than in quarter three. And also, you know, what I see it as kind of an opportunity to really wake people up to consider what they actually want their business to look like instead of just following what someone's doing or going, oh, everybody's kind of going this way, so I'll go this way. But to really start thinking outside of the box and questioning things and creating their actual experience. So it's really important for me because I am seeing a lot of that as well. Like, oh, we're doing this now. Oh, nope, we're doing this. And it's not necessarily, we don't necessarily have the tools for every different strategy in place. So if we want to do that, we just need to prepare ourselves, prepare our businesses, and decide. And one of my business coaches had the best advice, and she said, build your business around your life, not the way the other way around, or you will never. Your life will always come last. And so that's the thing. You know, over the last couple of years, I've had so many changes, and I've really realized how important it is to prioritize health. Prioritize my time with God. That's important to me. Prioritize my relationships and things like that. And just even this weekend, I just kind of took a solo retreat and just kind of got quiet and clarity that came from that. You know, if we're always in the midst of the noise, if we're constantly in the hustle and the grind, we can't hear that intuition and that gut feeling, or even to give ourselves a little break and go, what do I really want? You know, and that's the question that I want to work with people on. What do I really want? And then out of all of that, create the goals and the strategy. So
I love that.
Is it like a hands-on workshop then? So they're actually going to be doing a workshop inside of this, like not just listening to speakers, like actually doing stuff and action items.
Oh yeah. They'll actually be doing things. We're going to give them tools that they can take. You know, each speaker will have this is my game-changing tool that I use, whatever that looks like. Tracy will be talking actually about the calendar and about creating boundaries around our time. We'll bring some AI conversation in there, but really, you know, it's great to have the idea and the vision and all of that and the clarity that's so important, but to have tactical tools is really important for people as well. So yeah,
that sounds really good. Are you guys going to like have the end goal and then reverse engineer it for them? Is that kind of what you're shooting for? Or because a lot of people, I mean, how are you going to start with their first, like how, if you don't know what their end goal is, how would you kind of figure it out?
You create the vision for the year, right? So we'll be talking about the purpose, the values, and the vision.
Okay.
So that will be one of the first conversations, is really, you know, getting them to be really clear on strengths and values and putting words to that. Things change when we put language to it.
Yeah.
You know, we can walk around I don't know why I feel so funky. And then you put language to it and it starts to make sense, right? Or just like a vision. When we start putting language to it, it starts to get real. We start to have a conversation about it. And so it's kind of that, like, we'll do a lot of clarifying and work of pulling out before we ever get to the vision, though. And then the strategy will come out of that. So,
like Monique asked about having tools to actually do it. Will it be tools that they just email to us, or will it be something we actually work on does everybody have to be inside, or can people actually come in and do it via a Zoom? How is that going to play out?
I'm not doing Zoom because part of it is getting out of your comfortable environment and getting in the room. You know, I don't know how many Zooms I've been on this year, and this one is amazing and game changing. But I have to say, as far as work goes and things like that, the podcasts are a highlight, right? Like that's fun. But when I think about the work Zooms that I've been on, I can't think of one that has been a game changer for me. So I just want to challenge people. How much time do we spend on Zoom? If I get to Friday and I've spent too much time on Zoom, God forbid if you're late in my day on Friday, because I want to just launch the computer out of the house. Like, I'm so tired of looking at it. And I know that you guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
One of those things of we can, I mean, that's a part of our lives and our businesses, and it's an important part. But I want to say, how many have changed things for you, or changed your perspective, or really been that type of, when we are in an experience and it gets in our body and we feel that energy, and that changes things, right? That having that experience, our body, we start to kind of visualize where we want that to go. And, you know, I'm really gearing this toward maybe you're doing great with your active income, but you want to switch and do something else, or you're just starting out and you're not focused. But what I want are the hungry people. I want the people who are action takers and who will, in the group, hold people accountable this year and show up and do their part, and, you know, who feel worthy enough that I owe it to myself to take this seriously. Like, I'm not going to invest in this program, this workshop, and that's the only cost for the year. But I'm not going to invest in this workshop if I'm not going to take advantage of what's offered for the year, and try to actually, you know, get to this point next year and be in a different place.
Right. And I love that, because I do so much better in person than
me too.
Distracted if I'm on a Zoom and it's like, what? Something, you know, distractions. It just is. And when you're in there, all that other stuff, your phone, you shut it off, everything else, you can actually learn and pay attention to something. And I agree. I think it's the best way to really make a difference in your lives. And thank you for doing that. Yeah.
Well, there's something about human connection, right? And I think that I have a really good friend. He's not in this industry, but he says, I just need to be around people. And I would go and work at a coffee shop. I used to do that a lot more before I had calls all the time, but it really does feel good just to get out of your environment and just be around people, but let alone people who are kind of on a similar path, or entrepreneurs, and they understand those challenges. They know what it feels like to get overwhelmed regularly, and to be with people that kind of get us. It's a huge boost. So I feel like the timing is perfect. I think that the community is ripe for it. I think there are a lot of people that would really thrive in this workshop and who have a lot to offer. And whether that be someone that's new and coming from a different phase of life, or someone that is wildly successful in our community, I think it's going to create something really beautiful.
So when is the workshop? Where is the workshop? And how do people get to sign up for and get, become a part of this?
So you can go to create-2026. I'll give that to you guys for your show notes.com. All the information is there. There's an early registration that actually ends on December 15th. And then there is VIP registration that goes until the deadline. I think it's January 3rd. And the event is January 6th and 7th in Phoenix. It's in Donna's living room. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't have to commute.
Fantastic.
But
that
it'll
correct?
the place, the place is to be determined. So I'm actually working on that. I lost my VA. She had a sick relative, and so it's been a lot with the marketing and everything. But I have a great VA in place now, and everything is moving forward beautifully. But getting the venue will be part of my work this week. So
Got it.
So I will.
What was the date again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
January 6th and 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, so 10 to 5 each day. And yeah, just super excited to see, I'm so curious. And of course, I'm a praying woman, so I'm praying for whoever's going to be in the room and what the experience is going to be like, and for the speakers and everything. And they're excited. And so it's going to be a great event. I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
Oh, there it is on the bottom there. Does that look right, Christine?
Yep.
Great.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and it's on Facebook. I did a Facebook meeting. It's on Eventbrite. It's on Meetup. So the marketer in me is going full throttle.
So this isn't just for one set of people. This is for anyone who is a business owner or just an individual, or what kind of?
Well, it really is. It's largely about how do we balance our work and life in a way, Pace says there's no such thing as work-life balance. Well, we better have balance on some level in both. We need to be leading it. And if we're not leading it, we will not have a say of whether there's balance or not. He talks about integrating, that's the choice that he's made. But really, this is about how do you care well for all the different parts of your life? So whether you're an entrepreneur, you're working for someone else, this is largely, I would be surprised if there's someone that's not some sort of a business owner or entrepreneur there. But at the same time, if you're doing consulting, if you're working for someone else, you still have those challenges of how are you going to lead your life? And every bit of leadership starts with self-leadership. So it really is anybody that's wanting to step into really taking control of things and really taking ownership and responsibility for all the different areas of life. So, but there will be a lot of life and work integration and things like that. So I'd be surprised if there was somebody that showed up that wasn't an entrepreneur. It is being marketed towards that. So
that's awesome.
So you said you're no longer doing the fix and flips. You've pivoted from that. Did you have I know this market for myself, I did the same thing, but did you find it just more difficult for everybody? What was your story behind your choice to stop doing the fix and flips for now?
The story was the last one that I did. I started, it was about 1.5 years ago, and I started getting the feeling, okay, something's changing. The market is slowing down a little bit. There was more and more talk about interest rates and politics and all of that. And so for me, I wouldn't say I'm risk averse, but I'm very methodical about it. And so to me, it started looking like if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to understand that there's a level of risk that's much higher than what I was doing previously. So that was kind of part of for me, it was me doing it on my own. I started with a partner. It was a kind of a long road with the flips, to be honest. I started with a partner and I started with a contractor that neither one, they weren't people that I wanted to work with. So I think that moving on, it just kind of made sense with all the different pieces, what was going on in the market, what was going on in partnership and business. And I ended up, I think it was last October, I heard from the woman so I had a female general contractor and she hired out the subs. Well, the main sub had everything was in-house for her. And so she brought along her entire team. And so she reached out to me and said, hey, I'm pregnant and we did not get paid $26,000 on this job.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was awful. And she said, I'm getting death threats from my team because they think I'm just not paying them. And the reality is that this woman never paid us. And luckily I had lien waivers and I was covered. I had paid her in full. But the problems they just kept coming. So there were things that weren't finished that I had paid for. And so I think that flip in particular taught me so much, that I would have inspectors come throughout the process before the walls are closed up, at the really important pieces of things, to be, just hiring for, set aside an extra $1,000 and hire an inspector to come out a few times, or different inspectors even would be even better. But just having a true gauge on exactly what's going on in the project with someone who's very qualified and can answer that. So there were a lot of different things. I would go back to flipping because I feel like I was scared straight, and that I would be very, very careful with who I trusted. And it's really funny, after that, the people that I've met after that are completely on the up and up, and I would work with them in a heartbeat. So once the market comes back, I would be happy to flip again here. So, but yeah, flipping is really a wild ride. So,
yes, it can be, for sure. Yeah.
So that was kind of my big, I wanted something a little more secure and to build more of a foundation. So
I don't know. I think for me, flipping is so rewarding when it goes through and everything works great and everything's perfect, but it has probably got the most challenges too, and it goes with it.
Yeah, unforeseen things. I remember talking to someone doing this for over 20 years, and I was telling my story, and he goes, "Yeah, something similar just happened to me," and he's been doing this for such a long time. So, there's always a new fun lesson, and if you're in for that. But yeah, Dawn, again, there's nothing better than creating something, taking it from nothing to something amazing. And then, the buyers being so in love with it and so excited to start a life there. And that feels so good to be able to provide that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess that is probably when you're doing fix and flips, you will have lots of lessons along the way. And even though you think you're prepared, and like you said, you do multiple ones, and you're like, this is great. And all of a sudden something just catches you off guard, because I think we get comfortable, maybe let our guard down a little bit, don't do our due diligence on something.
I find it's always the cause of the problem. If I have not done due diligence on some piece, whether it's the contractor or the property I didn't fully inspect beforehand or whatever, it's always comes down to it's my fault because of that.
Yeah. The interview process of getting the right contractor, that can be really difficult and time consuming. And then, like you said, Kristen, your partner, finding partners that you feel confident in and you're on the same page. Jim and I, one of our first times we ever partnered up, we did a great fix and flip, and then we got another deal ready to go, and they were like, then they backed out at the last minute. They're like, I think we're just not ready to continue forward. They said they just got scared of the market, which was fine. But it was like, oh, okay, well, we just had a different mindset maybe of what we were going to deal with or whatever. So, yeah, I like the idea of JBing, which I didn't know about until we got in the sub-2 community. And I think that's a great way to go until you know for sure you've done multiple with somebody. And
yeah. And you can really predict how they react to things, their level of honesty and integrity. And the partner that I had, I would be looking at her and I'd be going, she's not telling the truth right now. And she always wanted to look like she knew things. I mean, this was when we were both brand new too. And I was like, this is our chance to learn. So it's okay. You can still be an intelligent person and not be taken advantage of. But to ask the question, this is our chance to do that. Why are you acting like you know all of this? Like you're going to lose all the meat of really actually learning the thing and going really deep in it.
Yeah.
If you're going to pretend like you already know. And so it was kind of interesting. Yeah, there were some some red flags with that one for sure. So, and
But you were already in the deal with this person, so yeah.
Oh yeah, totally married. And but that was, you know, through these couple people, it was really interesting for me because I learned a lesson where everybody talks about, you know, your red flags and did you get these red flags? And with the contractor, I said, you know what, I really didn't. And we spent that was my third project that she was on. And I'm a pretty good BS detector, but with that one, I was like, you know what it was? It was a million yellow flags. It wasn't any, I didn't catch her being dishonest. I didn't, but there were a million little things where I was like, you know, I didn't know. Somebody in my life said, oh, you can trust her. And I was like, even 6 months later, I was like, no, it's not, I don't trust her. And I was like, that's kind of telling, you know, all those little flags really pile up. So
that's a good way of good analogy, the yellow flags, because you don't think about that, you just think of the red ones.
Yeah,
you don't put all the yellow flags, you know, 2 and 2 together and see that they add up to a lot bigger than you realize. Because they're little, they're small.
And we're in a community. Yeah, we're in a community of such amazing people. We can find our green flag people if we're patient, right? So I think that there's enough of that we don't have to settle for the yellow flags either. So,
but sometimes you don't even recognize it because it's so subtle.
Yeah, but there is a gut check.
Right, Kristen, where I've been able to replace some yellow flag people with AI. The one place where I don't see AI adding a lot of value to my practices yet is where customers want to have conversations that solve their problems. So AI is good at being analytical, but let's say you need to call and you need some customer service because you need to respond and return an item. Or let's say, you know, sellers still want to sell their properties to real people. They still want to talk to real people about that. You know, I don't want to call my contractor and have to go through an AI phone tree first. Like, I really don't like AI interfacing with customers for my businesses because they hate it. They absolutely hate it. But I love it for fact checking. I love it for I don't want to throw anyone under the bus in case they're listening to this, so I'll just be opaque. But there are certain questions where I used to have to reach out to people who had said things to me that were beyond yellow flag, but were red flag, but they were the one person in the industry who knew something that I needed to know. And I no longer have to kiss butt. I no longer have to pay $5,000 for guru knowledge bases, you know, like just so I can ask my one question that I needed. Seriously, like I took this one course that was commercial and it was how to do commercial REO, how to do commercial REO acquisitions. And I just needed one piece of information and he held it to the end of a whole 3rd day in-person event when I really just needed one question. And so I'm so grateful for AI that I no longer have to go to these, you know, in-person events that aren't going to add value. I just need one question asked. So that being said, I used to settle a lot for the yellow flag people and the red flag people because they had the knowledge that I needed for one little thing, you know, just plugging in here and here and here. And so I just wanted to share that AI has set me free to where now I can only engage with green flag people. And that has done so much for my peace that I don't even know what to do with all my free time. I used to have to spend so much emotional and mental bandwidth on dealing with the politics of just dealing with the people I needed to get the information from. Am I the only one?
No.
That too?
And I think Jennifer, I think that's really great. Like that is the human in the loop. And I think it's using it for how it serves your business and your purpose and your goals. And the fact that you want to be the facing person to the customers, look at all this stuff you took off your plate. Now you have the space for that. And really that's the important part of what we're doing ultimately, right? We know those places where we sign up for a subscription and we get locked out of our, I don't know if anybody's happened to this, but this happens.
She's like, yep.
Locked out of your account and there's nobody to help you.
Yeah.
So you can't, and it's a loop.
It's a circular loop.
So it's so frustrating. So I think the human in the loop is so deeply important. But that's what I love is you're leveraging it in a way for your business where it makes sense for you and it takes things off your plate. That's, to me, that is the whole point. And I think that the information that it gives, I mean, as a business partner, in some ways is just invaluable.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I think, I felt the same thing. So I think that's really cool that that's how you're using it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it's great for everything except for customer interfacing for the most part. But I would love you guys' feedback on that, especially since you specialize in AI, Kristen, right now.
Yeah, and I don't use it. I wouldn't want to use it personally. I'm not a person who's creating agents and things like that. So for me personally, yeah, I would rather have a human and on the line. It's not something that I use it for information purposes. I use it for organization and things like that. And I think that use it for what makes sense for you and your business. But for me,
what did you speak on at Squad Up? I was listening to hear for that, but I don't think I ever heard what your topic was at Squad Up.
So I did Deal Maker at Squad Up. It was an evening session, So, and I won it. So that was kind of cool. It
did an amazing job. She was a great speaker.
Oh, thanks, Monique. Thank you. It was a really cool experience. So so that's what it was. It was a development deal in Las Vegas. And it
was like you pitched your deal.
Like a Shark Tank thing.
Yeah.
Like a Shark Tank. Okay, that's exciting. Yeah, that's really
it was really fun.
And you won. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because we were backstage and Pace didn't, normally what they do for Dealmaker, you just present your deal.
Right.
And then they decide if they're, what they think of it. They ask you questions, that kind of thing. And so I think we were backstage and he mentioned something about a competition. I was like, oh, crap. Like, it's enough because there were like 3,000 people there. So it's enough. That's enough. Right. And now he springs that on us, of course. And but it just, you know what? It was really funny. I just felt so prepared and I felt so grounded when I went out there. And my whole intention was I want to enjoy this and I want to receive it. And I did. And so I felt like I was really in the moment when it was happening, where I don't know if you guys have ever been on stage and you're like, oh, I kind of blacked out there.
Yeah.
So it was just an awesome experience. So yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's cool. Oh my gosh, how exciting. So is that the deal you actually ended up walking away from?
Mm-hmm. There were two this year. Actually, there was that one. The people that brought me the deal, they owned the land, and they wanted to be in every aspect of the deal. And they didn't, as far as the structure of it came, as far as, okay, bringing in capital, bringing in teams and things, they down to the letter of what kind of doors and windows and everything that they wanted, they weren't flexible in any of it. And so that was my clue at the beginning that this is going to be a big problem, because if we convert, if we need to, for the purpose of the project, do something different, you don't know what way these things are going to go. And the woman said, oh no, my projects don't go like that. And I thought, oh, this is bad. So I got out of that one.
Yeah, it sounded like she was a micromanage the whole thing. And those are hard people to work with.
Yeah, she wouldn't have, because she wouldn't have been a team member, right? It wouldn't have been, okay, let's solve this problem together. And I was seeing that every time I met with them, it kind of got a little bit worse and worse. They would not have been willing to work with me or negotiate. And they wanted 45% of the deal, even though they weren't bringing any capital. So there were some interesting things. It was a great project. So I was really excited about it. And so it was a bummer that's why it didn't go through. So, yeah.
Did they go through with somebody else? Did you know if they ever? So it just kind of fell away.
What's really funny? I came home from Dealmaker, and it was like within that first couple weeks after that, the bottom fell out of this, and it just became very clear that this was going to be, they were almost hostile. So it just was going to be really challenging. Yeah. And so I said, here's my proposal. I'll pay you a percentage to go work your next deal, and we'll do this. We'll take care of this, and I'll pay you X. And they said no, and they would have gotten paid to do nothing. And so they said no. And so they never found funding. So it's sitting there. Yeah.
And do they own the land?
They own the land. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've got a project like that too, that we keep talking to the seller for almost 2 years. And I'm like, you got two options here. You're going to let this place sit vacant, but you can't have, she's the same way. She's very, sweet people, but she just can't let go of having the control.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't be any part of this. I mean, other than you can be a partner with us, but we can't, we're not going to ask you for any, you don't get any opinion on the project. I'm sorry. You're going to have to be a silent partner. That's basically, or sell it to us. Just sell it to us outright.
Yeah. No, it's so challenging, and there's a greediness to it too. Yeah. There's some sort of not even scarcity, but literal greed, and that not wanting to, and it's to their own detriment. And same in your situation, it sounds like. Yeah.
Well, hers is fear. She grew up very, 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 very poor, and so she's just nickel and dimes and pinches these things. But we're trying to say you're losing money doing that, because things sit longer, or you get somebody to do a cheap job on it that has to get redone, and you're just putting money into a bad situation, and you just have to understand that. And she's admitted it's because of her growing up with the poverty mindset. She knows it's her mindset. I don't know how to help her change it though. That's just
well, and it's like there's an abundance mindset and a scarcity mindset, but there's also a poverty mindset, and that's the biggest saboteur.
Yeah,
because that one's really hard to overcome, because it's almost, my nervous system is saying I'm not safe.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that could get in the way of her actually being safe and creating safety by, look at these honest, beautiful people coming around, and she can't say yes to it. That's so sad. Yeah.
I think the way to get over it is to build safety through competency, through reps.
Yeah.
So you have to take that first confident rep, take that first chance, and then let it compound.
Yeah. And the problem is with those people, it's that taking that first step, they can't.
That's the sabotage, right?
Literally can't get past that fear and take that step.
It's kind of almost like the hoarders who have that.
Yeah. Oh, it's 100%. Yeah. I truly think that the hoarder mentality comes from that poverty mindset. Like, I have this thing, I have to hold on to it. I can't get rid of it. And everything, they just collect more and more and more, because I might not have this thing again.
Right.
And so I have to hold on to it.
Yeah. And if your nervous system doesn't feel safe, then it will not allow you.
Yeah.
Like, some people, it's really funny, and it's such a thing. I mean, I work with it all the time, but it's such a thing of, if my nervous system doesn't feel like success is safe, right? Like, if it's going to take my peace, or I'm going to be wealthy and greedy, or, any kind of thing that, if your nervous system has an interpretation of it, and these are those limiting beliefs, then it will not allow that forward motion. No matter how good the thing is, you can look at something and go, but success all around is a good thing. And if their nervous system doesn't recognize it as such, they will sabotage it.
I was telling my personal trainer today that first generation poverty and addiction breakers have one of the highest incidences of autoimmune. And tell me that's not interesting. And I think it's because their subconscious brain their subconscious brain is arguing with the conscious brain constantly, like, hey, we're not supposed to be this successful. We're not supposed to be healthy.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be someone drunk in the house. There's supposed to be poverty. You know, what do you mean success? Well, when is it? How long is it going to last? And so I think that the way the subconscious brain is programmed fights against that consciousness, and then your immune system stays in this constant state of stress that then finally turns on itself.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that's especially true with women. And you know, Jordan Peterson says it's because we're more sensitive, because we're raising babies that can't talk. And so how else are we supposed to interpret, you know, what babies need, since they don't talk unless you're really sensitive?
Yeah.
And so I feel like as women, especially, and this is relevant because it's a women's show, we have to protect our sensitivity, acknowledge it, you know, make sure our environment is peaceful, make sure we're giving ourselves room for growth, and go, is this really me, or is this my subconscious programming?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree. And I think part of that is exactly like creating your next steps with that intention, with that purpose. And in doing so, you put up safeguards and you create safety for yourself. And so that helps you get out of that prison. It's a prison.
It is a prison.
It is.